There I was, watching my 8-year-old niece Emma, barefoot, sunburned, her laughter bouncing off the lake, building sandcastles with her friends, just kids being kids, you know? When out of nowhere, like a thunderstorm you smell before you see, here comes Brenda Whitmore, the infamous HOA president, barreling down my dock with the intensity of a reality TV villain on finale night. Clipboard raised like a judge about to deliver a verdict, she screamed at the kids to get off her lake. That sound, the metal of her clipboard smacking the dock, her shrill voice slicing through the thick, green scent of Missouri summer algae, sent something through me, a rage mixed with disbelief, and, if I'm honest, a sort of grim amusement. What Brenda didn't know, what no one knew, was that I'd been waiting for this showdown for years. See, I'd inherited this lake cabin from my grandfather, a place that was mine before Brenda even knew this street existed, a place that healed me after my divorce and gave my niece a home while her dad, my brother, served overseas. Every summer, Emma's joy brought this battered old place back to life. That dock, that water, those smoky barbecue evenings with the neighbors, that was our sanctuary. And Brenda? Well, Brenda's been the HOA president for 8 years, mostly because no one sane wanted her job. Think classic Karen, bleach blonde bob, sunglasses so big you could see your reflection in them, a voice with the power to shatter glass and morale from 3 counties away. Her idea of fun was filing complaints about my boat, my dock, the length of my grass, the color of my Christmas lights. The woman's perfume could knock you out before she even started yelling. But she had a mean streak for anyone who didn't fit her perfectly manicured image. Single folks, veterans, really anyone who reminded her that suburbia isn't a country club. And this summer, when Emma brought her school friends for their lake weekend, just 4 kids, mind you, not exactly Mardi Gras, Brenda stormed over, barking about guest violations and threatening to call the police for trespassing. Emma, sweet and confused, asked, "Uncle Jake, why is that lady so mean?" I looked from her little worried face to Brenda's tight, self-righteous smile and thought, enough is enough. I played it cool, told Brenda we needed to talk about jurisdiction. She laughed in my face. "Mr. Brennan, I am the jurisdiction around here." Bless her heart, she had no idea. The next morning, she showed up with 3 HOA board members, her flying monkeys, holding a thick file and wearing what I can only call her intimidation suit. Announced she was activating the Emergency Response Committee. Apparently, pool noodles and 4 kids meant a full-scale disaster. But see, after the showdown, I'd spent my night researching Missouri's one-party consent laws, phone in hand, record button ready. I documented every interaction for 6 months, just in case. When Brenda shrieked about illegal surveillance, I explained the law to the whole HOA board, my phone screen glowing with evidence. Watching their faces shift, especially Tom, the neighbor who usually minded his own business, was priceless. And then something magical happened. The neighbors started paying attention. The Johnsons across the cove stopped their run to listen. The elderly couple next door suddenly got very interested in watering plants that didn't need watering. Brenda, so certain in her power, was unraveling right in front of everyone. The next week, it got quiet, almost too quiet. Then I got a letter from the county, an anonymous complaint about my dock. Brenda had gone nuclear. But what she didn't realize is, I'm an Army vet who lives for paperwork. I marched into the county office with 30 years' worth of permits and plans, organized like a military operation. Rodriguez, the inspector, a fellow veteran, flipped through my files, grinned, and said, "Your grandfather did everything by the book." Then he confided, off the record, that Brenda had filed 47 complaints that year, most targeting veterans and single parents. The county even started charging her $50 a pop just to slow her down. So, I decided to fight back. I invited every neighbor over for a barbecue. That night, under a sky full of stars and beer-fueled honesty, the stories poured out. Tom confessed Brenda tried to get his American flag taken down. Mrs. Olivia, who'd been forced to repaint her house because pale yellow didn't match community standards, the same shade as 3 other houses, joined in. We realized Brenda was using her power to isolate and harass anyone who didn't bend to her will. But by sharing our stories, we broke her spell. It didn't take long for Brenda to retaliate. The next day, the sheriff's office called. Brenda claimed I'd threatened her. Officer Martinez watched my security footage, Brenda's meltdown in 4K glory, and could barely hide his laughter. Turns out, I wasn't the first she'd accused. 12 false reports in a year. I called my buddy Marcus, a lawyer, and told him the whole saga. He said, "Jake, this is civil rights territory now. She's targeting you as a veteran and single guardian. That's federal law." The gravity of it hit me. Brenda wasn't just a nuisance, she was dangerous. And just when I thought it couldn't get worse, Emma came in shaking. Brenda had been photographing the kids from her car. That evening, Tom brought news from an emergency HOA meeting. Brenda wanted to hit me with a $15,000 problem resident assessment, except she hadn't sent out the required notice. He'd recorded the meeting, Brenda's voice, full of venom, questioning my fitness as a guardian because I was an unstable military type. I felt a cold resolve take hold. It wasn't about the dock anymore. Brenda had crossed a line, now it was war. With Marcus's help, we pulled the property deed. Turns out, my grandfather had secured exclusive riparian rights. Not only did I own the cabin, I legally owned 200 feet of the lake. Brenda's entire reign of terror was built on authority she never had. If I wanted, I could ban everyone from the lake, drop property values overnight, and destroy the HOA's grip. But I didn't want revenge. I wanted justice. I called Tom, gathered a list of every family Brenda had targeted, and looped in Rodriguez, who handed over a stack of evidence thicker than a phone book. Even the local paper got involved, prepping an expose on HOA corruption. Marcus drew up 3 plans: file federal charges, leverage my lake rights for community reforms, or hold a public meeting and let the truth do its work. I chose the third. We invited every family to a lake safety meeting. Not even Brenda saw it coming. As the night arrived, the community center overflowed. Neighbors packed the room, anticipation crackling like static. Brenda marched in, flanked by her entourage, trying to radiate power. I calmly projected the 1987 deed on the wall. "I own this lake," I said. "And for 3 years, someone has abused fake authority to torment you." The silence was thick until Tom played his recording. Brenda's slander, her targeting of veterans, her attempts to destroy my family's reputation. That's when Mrs. Patterson, a retired principal, stood up and moved for Brenda's immediate resignation. The crowd erupted in agreement. Brenda, cornered, screamed about conspiracy until Deputy Martinez, standing at the back, walked up and arrested her for filing false reports and harassment. The days after felt like the neighborhood exhaled for the first time in years. I granted permanent lake access to every family except the 3 who'd backed Brenda's crusade. The new HOA president, Tom, organized the biggest barbecue in Pine Ridge history. Brenda's legal troubles multiplied. Her insurance refused to cover her, and the lawsuit settlement, let's just say, funded a scholarship for local veterans and a brand new playground for the kids. Emma's next summer was pure magic. She brought more friends. The sound of laughter replaced years of tension. My brother came home and bought a house nearby, and the community's annual lake festival became a tradition that brought 3 counties together. Property values climbed. People smiled again. The real lesson? Bullies like Brenda thrive when people stay silent, when neighbors are too scared to compare notes. But shine a light, stand together, and even the most entrenched tyrant crumbles. Know your rights. Document everything. And never let anyone tell you that you don't belong in your own home. So tell me, what's your worst HOA horror story? Drop it in the comments. Let's help each other spot the warning signs and protect our communities. Because home isn't just a place. It's where we choose to stand our ground, and where we make sure nobody, no matter how loud or entitled, gets to rewrite the rules of belonging.